Hello everybody, you had questions, I've got answers. It is time to do a Q&A session on which is better, traveling by rail or plane through Europe. Hello there, let's get ready to talk European rail and airfare. But before we get started with that, if this is your first time here, hello. I'm Gretchen, the Tipsy Travel Gal. I'm a licensed esthetician and a travel agent, and it's my goal to eat, drink, and spa my way across Europe. I want to bring you along on my journey with me, introducing you to some really cool things and some amazing sights, and of course, delicious food and drink. And my goal is to inspire you to travel, whether it be domestic or international. If that sounds like something interesting, please consider subscribing to my channel. Also, if you're interested in my journey into becoming a travel agent and why I chose to do this and why I'm trying to travel the world, I'm going to include my GoFundMe in the link. You'll read more about my story. And if you'd like, you can always donate. I would truly appreciate it. Now, it's time to get to your questions. This is actually one of my favorite topics to discuss because I love high-speed rail in Europe. So if you want to talk to me about high-speed rail, I am your gal. If you're doing a multi-city trip, whether it be in the same country or different countries, you have some choices about how you're going to have to get to where you're going. So let's start with the benefits of both. The benefits of rail, if you're staying in the European Union, you won't have to go through customs or security through each location. And even the countries that aren't part of the European Union do have relationships with each other when it comes to high-speed rail. Meaning you won't have to go through what's equivalent to a cavity search like you go through airport security. Another benefit, you don't have to arrive 3 hours before your train leaves. If you're not having to go through customs and security, you can get there, and as long as that train's still there and you make it through whatever security they do have, you can just run right onto the train and you're on. They board up until the minute that train leaves. Another benefit over air, you can bring as much luggage as you want. They aren't going to charge you anything extra. Now, you do have to lug it around and stow it. If you're on the last leg of a multi-city journey, you've got a suitcase and a carry-on and a backpack and a purse, 2 bags of souvenirs, you ain't paying extra for it. And you don't have to condense it into 3 bags. You have a little bit more mobility on a train. You can get up and down, move around, there's no turbulence. If the train's getting ready to leave the station and you have to go to the bathroom, you can just walk right to the bathroom and it can pull out of the station while you're sitting on the toilet. If you plan ahead, it's pretty inexpensive. I've gotten first class cabin seats on Italian rail for under $100 a ticket. And finally, it usually departs from and arrives to a city center, whereas with airports, you're usually a minimum of 30 to 60 minutes out. Also, when it comes to bad weather, trains are pretty dependable. Unless they're getting stuck in snow, they're going to be on their way in a snowstorm, in a thunderstorm, it doesn't matter. Planes, on the other hand, there's a bad storm rolling through, you ain't going anywhere until it clears. Now let's talk about the benefits of flying to your multi-city location. Now, if you are staying in the European Union, you don't have to go through customs. However, you are going to have to go through airport security. It is fairly inexpensive to fly throughout Europe. They have great regional airlines. They're very affordable. And of course, it's obviously a time saver. A flight from Rome to Paris is about 2 hours and 10 minutes. That's less than it is to go from Chicago to New York City. A train from Rome to Paris, while it's an absolutely stunning ride, it's 10 plus hours. Now, personal preference is going to play into a factor here. Do you like the journey? Are you one of those people that doesn't need to be someplace super fast? Some people like the cost because even though, again, it is relatively inexpensive to fly throughout Europe, usually trains are much cheaper. And do you not feel like being violated by airport security? So here's how I kind of calculate whether I'm going to take a train around Europe or take a plane through Europe. First, I start with the time factor. Since you don't have to be at the train station until usually right up till your train leaves, really the time you're spending on a train is the actual ride on the train. Give or take maybe a half hour before you leave because you really don't want to be running to a train at the last second. While it may seem romantic and very Hollywoodish, as someone who's done that before, it sucks. Now, when it comes to a plane ride, you actually have the time of your flight, but you also have to factor in that 3 hours you have to get to the airport ahead of time to go through airport security. And then, an hour to an hour and a half to deplane and go get your luggage. So really that 2 hour and 10 minute flight is going to be more like 6.5 hours. So after I figured that out, if rail's still a little bit longer, I look at how much time I have to spend in Europe. When I was there for my 50th birthday, I was in Europe for 2.5 weeks. I didn't mind the journey, so an extra 3 or 4 hours on a train didn't bother me at all. Then, of course, I look at the price. And again, for rail, it's pretty much the price of your ticket. When it comes to a flight, you've got the price of your ticket, plus most international airlines have you pay to reserve your seat in advance, and add in the luggage factor. They pretty much always charge for luggage. So comparing those two is another piece of it. If they're about the same, or I'm not in a hurry to get anywhere, I usually will go on rail, mostly because I don't have the hassle of security and I get to enjoy the beautiful scenery and parts of Europe that I wouldn't see in the sky. Because I will tell you, I have taken a train from Rome to Munich, and it was an amazing trip through the Italian Alps, through the Austrian Alps, and into Bavaria. Also, I like being able to spend my morning doing other things instead of having to be at the airport 3 hours earlier. Now that 10-hour train trip from Rome to Paris, yeah, I might actually choose to fly there. It depends about how much time I have to spend in Europe. But overall, if I have extra time to spend and I don't mind a day traveling, high-speed rail is usually my favorite. So I hope that helps you plan your trip throughout Europe. One of the most amazing things about Europe is that you can be in a completely different country within 2 hours. There's a lot to do there, there's a lot to experience, and there's a lot to eat and drink. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please consider giving it a like, and don't forget to subscribe. If you have your own question or you would like to comment on this video, please feel free to do so below. Also, I am the Tipsy Travel Gal on all social media platforms. You can contact me there. And I also have a website, tipsytravelgal.com. If you go to the Contact Me page, there is a link to send me an email, so feel free to contact me again there. Don't forget to check out my GoFundMe page. And until the next time, bye.